Resume the conversation here. Of course, you see the situation in Nairobi, despite the fact that the governor has been around. But I need us to tie the loose ends on this conversation so that we can conclude on it. So, no, not you first. No, your question is one specific one. But first, so there's that argument that, yes, you're barred from accessing the office because it's a crime scene. And Senator Cherargei would appear to indicate that there are other things that the governor can actually go ahead and do just because he's still governor. What are your thoughts on that? No,
that's a bizarre argument, quite pedestrian in nature. What basically he's saying is feeding into the argument of Governor Waititu that he was intending to set up a parallel office within Kiambu County. And in that parallel office, he was going to discharge all the duties and functions of the county government of Kiambu, even though not allowed by law to access his office because it is a crime scene. But the argument advanced is that, files will be moving from this office to the other like that until such a time that he will be cleared. Essentially, what the argument portends is that the guy is back to work and can, champion the interest of Kiambu people. Chapter 6 of our Constitution on Leadership and Integrity has put a lot of emphasis on what is expected of a leader, an elected leader to say the least. There are certain behavior, certain conduct in line with Article 10 of our values that must be exercised by a leader anytime. The kind of behavior that we certain times see, committed by these kinds of governors that we have, is a conduct unbecoming of a leader. And what the court has stated is that because a crime scene has been set aside, you must equally step aside to give the investigative authorities enough time to protect the exhibits, the documents that they want to rely on, and any kind of evidence that they would want to pursue. Once you have allowed a governor who has stepped aside to open a different office. And this is not just about a physical office. It is the office of the governor.
Right. And
that office of the governor, with the trappings and opulence that accompany it, are what should make you step aside from that office. These people are so powerful that when they make a phone call to a clerk to bring a document to be trashed and shredded to kill evidence, a clerk will have nothing but to do that. And that is the genesis of stepping aside of this.
All right, Senator Cherargei, you have made your point in regards to that question.
Let me finish, because you have brought the argument of Justice Mube Ngugi, is that, in fact,
as you do this, I want you to respond to the question of what should happen in Nairobi County should tomorrow Senior Magistrate Douglas Ogoti rule that he should not access office. How does the county continue to operate?
First is that there will be no vacancy in the office of the governor. Secondly, according to Justice Mube Ngugi, which you have heavily relied upon, is that the fact that you can't access office, or the fact that there is absence of office, or all those aspects, she provides that you can still access office under the supervision of investigative agencies or
but have to be
of course, that's why I'm saying you can still access office as a governor, but through the permission of the EACC or investigative agencies. Justice Mube Ngugi, by the way, she doesn't get the courage to in fact order the removal of governor. But tomorrow, as you have said, when the courts rule that Governor Songo cannot access office because you can give a preservation order and say that's a crime scene, the fact that that one will create it will not create a vacancy in the office of the governor. Secondly, it will not create an absence of the governor from the county, because even if you remember the case of Okoto Bado, the courts said the governor should be 20 kilometers away from where the crime scene, or where, I don't know Migori very well, but they say 20 kilometers from that place. This one is, and I want to assist Jared by saying the courts, even if you rely on Justice Mube Ngugi, it says the physical, the gazetted. So the governor does not have power to open another office. The office that is recognized by the law And therefore, the preservation order can still be issued. You have said there can be phone calls that can be made to a clerk to bring a document. The courts will give specific conditions and terms, even preservation order, on how to preserve the crime scene, just like any other crime scene. So therefore, if tomorrow the courts rule that Governor Sonko cannot access the office, 1, there will be no vacancy, 2, there will be no absence, 3, there will be no need of having Speaker Cherargei, because I'm informed that Deputy Governor Polycarp Igate was not degazetted by IBC.
So
I've seen those.
Surely, Senator, can you bring that argument? I mean,
no. Legally, you know, I'm just giving you what the law says. Because
no. This is an officer who resigned. Currently, he's working for another institution.
But you know, he was not degazetted.
But
you know, the people who elected you also have a right. Even if you want to get out of office, they have a right to also.
Office
no, because one, you know,
being away for more than
that is why I'm
months.
saying this is a unique situation. Because one, you're having a deputy governor who was not degazetted by IBC. Number 2,
you actually believe he
number 2,
get back to the office?
Of course, he's still technically the deputy governor. Number 2, even the MCS, which you were saying they might sponsor an impeachment motion. I've also argued that the procedure of how Deputy Governor Polycarp Igate got out of office. But in any case, the issue, there is only a vacancy. If Speaker Cherargei will act for 60 days, then there will be an election. But as my brother said...
Senator, you're using so many words to confuse us, but let's be specific here.
Yes.
Let me delve into this
just a moment.
Former
Deputy Governor Polycarp Igate issued notice, I believe it was the early January 2018 or late December,
yes.
And he served that notice until 31st of January 2018. That was his last as Deputy Governor.
Yes.
He has not been in office for more than, it will be 23 months very soon.
Yes.
How can he get back to the office?
No, but the question is, that is why I'm saying this is so unique, because even IBC have confirmed that they did not gazette him. So technically, he's still the Deputy Governor of Nairobi City Council.
But you actually believe he can get back to the office?
Of course. Now that will be, you know, these are unique. These are devolution. That is first time in Kenya. So these are some of the areas that will need the courts to give interpretation of what happens if, for example, I resign, but the entire process is not concluded.
Okay.
Does that mean that I'm still the Deputy Governor?
But even before we come to Igade, the fact that President Uhuru Kenyatta could suspend the county government under Article 192.
No, he can't.
Is that a possibility?
It doesn't have such powers. And it's so sad that the Council of Governors are doing that. We have the Senate. The work of the Senate and Parliament is well provided for by the Constitution. The President does not have the power until petitioned. So he can't have power to suspend.
Well, let me set the record straight. Let me set the record straight. For a vacancy to occur in the office of a governor or deputy, there are several things. There could be death. There could be court vacating, you from office. But on Igathe's case, which was quite particular and is provided for in law, is to do a letter of resignation to the Speaker of the County Assembly. Now, all the legalese that would then follow, going to IBC, doing that degazettement, those are procedural. What basically he did, which is provided for in law, is that he resigned and he's now out of that office. He cannot use Sonko's dilemma to circumvent a legal process to come back into office. That is not going to happen. Let us just face the fact that even though you may not like Cherargei's face very much, she's poised to be the next governor of Nairobi
because I don't know her personally.
Capacity. Okay? So she's going to come. I don't know. I know you don't like her face.
But what I'm saying, my brother Jared, is...
And there will be no vacancy.
You know, this is unique. This is unique because we're having a deputy governor who has resigned. But technically provided technically I'm telling you what that is why we need interpretation, that technically the IBC did not degazette him as a deputy governor.
Right.
So we will be looking at those. And let me ask you, for example, I've had Jared arguing, making very serious argument. For today, I have seen many members of National Assembly being investigated over CDF, embezzlement and what have you. My question would be, if Jared, for example, today, if you are charged, God forbid, maybe embezzling of funds in CDF of Nyando, that one does that warrant you to step aside as
does
member
he
of
have executive authority?
Of course, he's the patron of the CDF.
Does he have executive authority?
There are many decisions, and that is why they have been investigated. Some of the MPs, members of national, I don't want to mention names, they have been investigated because they have a role in the management of the CDF.
Well, let me enlighten him. He's never been a member of parliament, sadly.
No, he's a senator.
Well, yeah. By
member of National Assembly. Of course, the law house.
Yeah, basically, the powers to control CDF was taken away from members of parliament. They constitute a committee at the grassroots. And it is this committee in liaison with the manager, the funds manager, who run day-to-day activities of the CDF fund or NG CDF fund. Now, basically, what has happened to a few of my colleagues, and there are very few, not many, probably just one, that they were using their companies in their names to conduct businesses with the NG CDF, and that is a conflict of interest.
Right.
So those are, very silly mistakes that a person who is out to serve the interests of the people cannot get into.
All right. Senator Dismas Mukwe says that Senator Cherargei is beating around the bush. There's clear conflict of interest. If found guilty, senators representing suspects in court would have been paid by stolen resources. If Orengo did represent suspects, it does not mean it's the right thing to do.
But these suspects, their accounts, the DPP will apply to be frozen.
Not frozen yet. Not frozen yet.
So they can do an fundraiser and pay the
There's another viewer by the name Bernard.
They can do it pro bono.
Yes.
Just allow me to make this comment. Bernard,
yes.
He's saying that he is lying. Look at his teeth and eyes. The entire county is in regard to functioning as a governor is a crime scene, not just the office, especially when it comes to corruption. Bernard,
but that is the decision of the court, so it is not my decision.
They'll make a decision when you hear tomorrow. Do you have feedback? Let's take a look at that. Ali Dayib. Take that.
Ali says even kiosks at the village are run better than Nairobi. Nairobians are paying the price of electing twin brothers of impunity and integrity.
The twin brother?
Tom Luangus, you say that I support the fight against corruption. We have seen how cancerous and disastrous it has affected our systems and livelihood. But let it not be selective or politicized.
Correct, I agree with you.
Lazaro, good morning to you. You're saying today that the 2010 Constitution is silent on the role of DPG, and that's the deputy, and their job-related security. The law is totally silent on the county chain of commands. That's the reason we're experiencing leadership crisis in Nairobi. All right.
Even though the law says that the deputy governor is the principal assistant of the governor. Shonko Andrew, you said that it is irony that those who oversight and recommend that Sonko be investigated after they question his misappropriation of funds go ahead and defend him again in court. It is a nation of Mwambangoma huvuta kwake. So that's what the viewers have had to say.
Let's take a look.
Can I comment on that?
1 minute before you do. SMSs, yes.
I'm ready to go.
22422 SMSs. Hopefully Senator Cherargei will also be able to give us his thoughts on that. Sir Nixon Buru, you say, why is the governor's office branded as a crime scene, yet another personnel who could equally be suspects, including the deputy governor, continue using the same office?
Well, but obviously you're charged alone.
Can I put this Tommy? I think Tom. I saw somebody told me Wango or something at Twitter. He said it should not be politicized or selective. And I agree that even in that ruling we said your political rivals can use such cases to hound you out of office. And therefore that is why I've been very critic about the DPP even over the weekend, that let us not be selective in the fight against corruption, because the headlines today, by the way, I think the entire of this year we have been having splash headlines that there are no sacred cows. But today, let me tell you, as I conclude, if DPP today wants some of us to believe that he's being fair and he's being an honest person, he shouldn't charge people. He should not judge people based on their political affiliation or something. For example, the Solai Dam case. 18 months down. I'm just boring so that you Kenyans can understand. 18 months down the line, it has not started. The Ruaraka land scandal suspects have not been taken to court. All these are corruption cases. Not that when you stole from county government is corruption, but when you steal from national government it's not corruption. We wouldn't want to see more people being prosecuted.
We need to take a break. When we come back, we'll be talking about the situation with the Building Bridges initiative. We've seen a lot of convergence happening lately. We'll be questioning that, and also the future of that document that has been held by some as what will resolve the crisis or the situations that the country finds itself in historically. No, you will not forget, just write it down. It will be the first thing that you say when you come back on air after the break.